What's up, guys? Today we are reacting to another YouTube video about Naruto. I got sent an email the other day with a link to a YouTube video titled "Every Jutsu That Would Destroy the Yata Mirror Explained in 19 Minutes." And as a well-known Yata Mirror truther and avid lover, basically anything that Itachi ever used, this kind of video caught my attention. So I clicked the link because maybe, hey, there's some sound arguments to break down how the Yata Mirror may actually be weaker than we think it is. And lo and behold, when I followed the link, well, I'd stumbled upon an AI-generated and ran channel. Now, it's not nearly as bad as AI channels we've interacted with in the past. We've seen some pretty bad Naruto-based slop, but rather it's just a faceless channel that uses an AI voice and probably AI scripts to pound out Naruto information to a not-so-adoring audience. So I figured maybe AI is doing better content than I am nowadays, and let's see what AI thinks about the Yata Mirror possibly being one of the weaker jutsus in Naruto. And as I watched the video, I realized, no, I still got the computer beat. But today, I want to watch this video with you and the adoring live chat that's hanging out right now. So with no further ado, let's get directly into every jutsu that would destroy the Yata Mirror explained in 19 minutes. This is what it sounds like.
Let me tell you a story about one of the most hyped defensive tools in the entire Naruto universe.
To me, that is painfully slow. Now, that might just be a sign of my brain rot, like my advanced level brain rot. I'm putting it at 1.5. It's not going to be a 9-10 minute video for us because I cannot listen to that slow AI TikTok voice for the next 19 minutes.
A shield so legendary, so mystical, that people in the fandom still argue about it like it's a real-life political debate.
Is anybody actually arguing about the Yata Mirror? I feel like it's pretty understandable what the Yata Mirror does. Like, it has the ability to reflect all jutsus, be they spiritual, manifestations, physical, or ninjutsu. It also doesn't get used that often, so we don't know all that much about the Yata Mirror. Like, yes, it's cool, but I don't think anybody's trying to highball Itachi to god status with the Yata Mirror.
I'm talking about the Yata Mirror. Yeah, that shield. The one Itachi Uchiha pulls out inside his Susanoo, like a final boss move you never expected.
Yeah, I'd like to warn all of you guys, by the way, the entire script for this video is basically like, boom, epic, roasted. Oh, I hit my delete button. It's like an AI trained on the worst 35-year-old you know.
According to the databook, and yes, I'm rolling my eyes as I say this, the Yata Mirror can block anything. I mean literally anything. Physical attacks, ninjutsu.
A little bit later in this video to show you that I've already watched it, they talk about how the Yata Mirror isn't able to reflect genjutsu, which is not something that we know. If you can see right here, this is the actual databook entry for the Yata Mirror and the Totsuka Blade, basically everything in regards to Itachi Susano. I have the actual page open up here so we don't have to like read half of it, but basically the Susano boasts an absolutely perfect attack and defense because of the spirit weapon it wields in both hands. The 10-handed sword that can cut down an enemy in its right, which is the sword of Totsuka, and the Yata Mirror, a shield that can repel any attack. In the face of God's powers, all attacks, whether from a material or astral body, ninjutsu or physical, lose their meaning. Now, that's incredibly vague, so we don't know exactly what the Yata Mirror does, but basically what most people take from this one paragraph, when you talk about astral bodies and physical and ninjutsu, that means basically all attacks are nullified by a Yata Mirror. Now, when you say astral attacks, like what could that possibly mean? Like, not a lot of people in the Naruto universe use astral attacks. Dan, Tsunade's dead lover, is able to split his soul from his body and fly around like a ghost, like Danny Phantom. That's not what this is talking about. Most likely what this is talking about is the astral attack of genjutsu, because you have to manipulate somebody else's chakra with your own. So in a sense, most people believe that the Yata Mirror is not only able to block things like ninjutsu and taijutsu, but also genjutsu, which is a point that they seem to skip over.
You could throw fire, lightning, wind, or even your hopes and dreams at it, and it would just reflect them away.
Yeah.
Sounds unbeatable, right? Now, if you combine the Yata Mirror with the Totsuka Blade, Black Zetsu himself claimed Itachi becomes invincible.
He does. When he's talking about how Itachi, as an entity in the Akatsuki, has all of these things that slap together on his Susano, yes, he says he's invincible. And a lot of people take that way too far, and they're like, oh, nobody could defeat Itachi. But, like, there is absolutely ways to defeat Itachi. I've said that Minato would be able to defeat Itachi, Nagato, Obito would all absolutely work Itachi in a 1v1. Even Kisame gives Itachi a good fight in a 1v1.
Not cage level. Invincible. One seals your soul, the other blocks your attacks. So what do? Log off?
So what do you do? Oh my god, it's like an AI trained by Discord mods who think they're funny.
Invincible label is let's say, generously exaggerated. It's the same databook that once said Temari could blow away the entire universe with a single swing of her fan.
Okay, this is like a fallacy of argument when talking about the Naruto databooks. People are like, oh, it did say that Choji was the strongest person on Earth and that Temari could blow away the entire universe. Like, yeah, the databooks are poorly translated from Japanese to English, and then they are very, not necessarily hyperbolic, but flowery in how they describe how certain abilities from the Naruto universe work. Like, even if you go back to the Yata Mirror entry, the 10-handed sword that can cut down any enemy in its right, and the Yata Mirror, a shield that can repel any attack. In the face of gods, of God's powers, all attacks, whether from a material or astral body, ninjutsu or physical, lose their meaning. Like, it is very flowery in how it describes individual techniques from Naruto. Like, that doesn't disqualify what the databook does. Like, you don't just get to pick and choose what works from the databook information-wise because you disagree with some aspects of it. Either agree with everything that comes from the databooks or agree with nothing. Don't pick and choose just because you're like, oh, well, sometimes it's wrong. Yeah, sometimes it is wrong. Identify those moments and be like, yeah, I don't think Temari's blowing away the entire universe. Yeah, I don't think Choji's the strongest person on Earth. But like, don't use the fact that the data book is sometimes hyperbolic to dismiss the parts that are kind of accurate in their comparisons and analyses of how certain techniques work.
Maybe don't take everything in the databook like it's written by the Sage of Six Paths himself. Let's look at what we actually saw. Yata Mirror was used to block Orochimaru's 8-headed serpent, which, to be fair, was no small feat. It also likely blocked Kirin, Sasuke's lightning-fast technique that literally calls down a bolt from the sky.
I mean, it absolutely didn't block Kirin. Itachi comes out bloodied and destroyed from getting hit by Kirin, and it basically destroys the majority of his Susano. Also, like, we've never seen how movable the Yata Mirror is. He would have had to put it above his head, and if he had put it above his head, he probably would have reflected Kirin. Most likely, it was just Itachi Susano that ate the majority of the damage from Kirin, because, like, a Susano, even without the Yata Mirror, is considered the perfect defensive jutsu.
That's impressive, no doubt. But those were very specific situations, with specific angles. The Yata Mirror isn't floating around Itachi in a protective orb, it's a directional shield. Meaning, sneak behind him, and it's game over.
This is another point that keeps coming up in this video. Like, yeah, if you sneak behind Itachi and you don't hit the Yata Mirror, then you can defeat the Yata Mirror. No, that's just breaking through Itachi's Susano. You're not defeating the Yata Mirror if you go around the Yata Mirror. That's not how it works. Like, that'd be like me saying, like, oh, this riot shield stops bullets. And it's like, well, yeah, that riot shield doesn't stop a bullet to the back of your head. And it's like, no, that's not what I'm asking it to do.
Also, keep in mind, it runs on chakra. If Itachi's Susanoo is out of chakra, the Yata Mirror disappears with it. And Itachi, despite the legend status, didn't exactly have a chakra pool like Naruto or Madara.
You can defeat Itachi's Yata Mirror by waiting for him to run out of chakra. Once again, not defeating the Yata Mirror, that's just him running out of chakra. Like, of course there's ways around the Yata Mirror, like getting behind Itachi and attacking from a weak spot in his Susano, or elongating the battle to the point where he runs out of chakra, but that's not you defeating the Yata Mirror, that's just waiting for the Yata Mirror to either not be there or getting around it.
Pretend he was sprinting marathons out there. And here's the kicker. Even truth-seeking orbs, which are made from the chakra of the Ten Tails, get destroyed in the series. And if those can be broken, then Yata Mirror isn't untouchable. It's strong, sure.
That's another fallacy. Like, oh, cool, Truth Seeker orbs can be destroyed, so why can't the Yata Mirror? Why would you compare those two things? Like, why even begin to compare those two things? They fundamentally work exactly opposite from each other. Yes, Truth Seeker orbs can be basically everything, and they're indestructible by anything that's like basically not Sage Jutsu or a ridiculously powerful Jutsu like Indra's Arrow or something like that. But that doesn't mean they're comparable to the Yata Mirror. Those are just two strong jutsus that you're tying together because one can be destroyed and therefore the other can. That's a fallacy.
Kamui. Now, if there's one thing more dangerous than a sharp blade, it's a technique that ignores blades completely. That's what Kamui does. Kakashi's Mangekyu Sharingan allows him to warp space itself, sending objects, or even people, into a separate dimension.
Like, I get what he's saying here. Like, I understand that Kamui versus the Yata Mirror would be an interesting dilemma. Like, would the Yata Mirror reflect Kamui? The answer is probably not.
Unlike elemental jutsu, Kamui doesn't care about chakra types or nature transformations. It doesn't clash with your attack. It just deletes it.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Like, if you launched Kamui at Itachi's Susano, I think, left arm that holds the Yata Mirror, would you be able to rip that Yata Mirror off him and Kamui it away? Probably. It is just a chakra construct, though. He probably could just regrow it. It's not like if you tear the Yata Mirror off the Susano, it's gone forever. It's not a physical item. It's a manifestation of his chakra. So, like, sure, yeah, maybe if Kakashi wanted to try and Kamui off Itachi's head inside of the Susano, Susano, that would be a win state for him, and the Yata Mirror probably wouldn't be able to do anything about that on account of the fact that it's not a physical, spiritual, or ninjutsu-based attack. I mean, it's just like the opening of a dimension in a specific spot. We can't really say, but like if any jutsu on this list would be a hypothetical good counter to the Yata Mirror, it would be Kamui, and that's why Kamui is considered one of, if not the most broken jutsu in all of Naruto.
It's like right-clicking reality and hitting send to recycle bin. And here's the scary part. Kamui has already been shown to work against truth-seeking orbs, those black chakra blobs made from the combined powers of the Sage of Six Paths.
Like, of course it works on Truth Seeker orbs, and why are we once again comparing the Yata Mirror to Truth Seeker orbs? Like, yes, if you open a dimension, if you open a rift to a dimension and a Truth Seeker orb goes in, it's gonna go to the dimension. It is physical. It has shape and form. It can transverse between these dimensions through these portals. Just because it works on Truth Seeker orbs doesn't mean it works on something metaphysical like a chakra construct. Truth Seeker Orb is able to blow through the body of an Edo Tensei reincarnation. It's why Minato lost his arms. It's why Hiruzen got banged up, able to affect your soul. But like, that doesn't mean that it's equatable to what the Yata Mirror is.
Kakashi, half blind and running on fumes, used Kamui to erase barriers and projectiles like they were made of paper. This wasn't some slow ritual either. It was fast, precise, deadly. So imagine this. Kakashi spots Itachi behind the mirror. One blink and a hole opens behind him. No need to punch, no need to clash.
I would hardly call it a blink. Multiple people have avoided Kamui-based deaths that are weaker than Itachi. Like, Deidara was flying away from a battle with Kakashi. Kakashi tried to Kamui his head off, and Deidara was able to dodge it and only lose an arm. An arm that later was able to be retrieved, mind you. Like, Kamui is dodgeable in the same way that Amaterasu is dodgeable. Like, but yes, could Kamui punch through Susano? Probably. Kakashi tried to use it to rip off the head of the Ten Tails. It's got chops.
Mirror or not, Kamui is the great equalizer.
Kamui, I agree with. Everything after that, it's gonna get contentious.
The Yata Mirror is known for being this unbeatable, reality-bending shield that adapts to everything thrown at it.
Yep.
But let me ask you something. Can it adapt to getting punched in the face so hard that space literally bends?
I mean, probably. Once again, to go back to reference the Yata Mirror entry here, in the face of God's powers, all attacks, whether from a material or astral body, ninjutsu, or physical, lose their meaning. If we're saying that all physical attacks they lose their meaning, they're able to be reflected using the Yata Mirror, just because it's the strongest physical attack doesn't negate that factor. Like, yeah, is it a crazy powerful attack that made Might Guy a supermassive object that was able to bend space-time? 100%. And hey, maybe he'd be able to kick around the Yata Mirror because Itachi wouldn't know where to dodge because space-time was being bent. Just like how Madara wasn't able to block Night Guy on account of the fact that space-time was bending around Might Guy. If we're saying that all physical attacks lose their meaning and Might Guy is simply using a physical attack, then yeah, Yata Mirror would probably block it.
I'm talking about the moment Might Guy opened the 8th gate and went full-on Red Beast of the Leaf. Let's break it down. The 8 gates released formation isn't just a power-up. It's a full-on taijutsu apocalypse.
It is just a power-up. Like, if we're being real, it's not an apocalypse. It is just, you use 100% of your body's strength, and if you open up to the 8th gate, you're able to use like 100 times your body's set strength, though it kills you.
All 8 chakra gates, especially the final one, the Gate of Death. He pushes his body past human limits. Blood evaporates, bones crack.
I mean, his blood evaporates, his bones crack, but like, yeah, if you kick somebody, it's absolutely devastating. He was able to kick a hole in Jubidara, but like, Jubidara was also trying to tank that kick because he has the ego the size of the divine trait.
That barrage alone would have been enough to give the Yata Mirror a panic attack. The mirror isn't omnidirectional.
Yes, the mirror is not omnidirectional. If Might Guy hit Itachi in the back with Night Guy, Itachi Susano would crumble. I mean, Kirin almost broke Itachi Susano. So obviously Night Guy, which is 1,000 times stronger than Kirin, is gonna accomplish that goal. However, if it hit it square in the Yata Mirror, which is the discussion topic we're currently talking about, because what the Yata Mirror is described as is the ability to negate all physical attacks, well then, yeah, we have no other reason to believe that the Yata Mirror wouldn't be able to negate something like Night Guy.
Guy would have zipped around Susanoo like a red comet, launching strike after strike from every angle until the mirror just gives up out of confusion.
The mirror's not alive, it's Itachi. He's a Mangekyo Sharingan user, and while he probably still wouldn't be able to keep up with the speed of 8th Gate Guy, because even Jubidara could not keep up with the speed of 8th Gate Guy, it's important to note that when 8th Gate Guy was fighting Jubidara, he was also being assisted by Minato, one of the fastest ninjas of all time, Kakashi, and Gaara. That is not a 1v1, it is a 4v1 that opens the door for Might Guy to hit Madara with Night Guy, an attack that he's only hit by because he wanted to be hit by it because he knew it could regenerate from it, because he had a feeling that it probably wouldn't kill him. And so, yes, if Night Guy crashed into the Yata Mirror, what would happen? Well, on account of the fact that we don't have a description saying that Night Guy can defeat literally anything in the universe, we probably have to go with a piece of evidence that tells us that literally all physical attacks mean nothing in the face of the Yata Mirror.
He focuses all that burning chakra into one final kick, so dense and fast, it bends space. And no, that's not an exaggeration. You literally see the space-time fabric curve around Madara's body as the kick lands. And remember, Madara had truth-seeking orbs at the time. They're supposed to be indestructible. Night Guy just melted them like they were butter on a summer day.
Oh my god, he literally doesn't do that. They literally have to Kamui away Madara's True Seeker orbs so Night Guy can hit him with a punch. It's one of the coolest scenes in Shippuden. We literally see Gara fly Kakashi up with sand, and Minato teleports away the True Seeker orbs that Madara launched at Night Guy, because even in the 7th gate or the 8th gate, they probably would have killed or seriously impaired him. And then after Kakashi Kamui's away part of Madara's bubble of the True Seeker orb, then and only then is Night Guy able to inflict damage on Madara. Then, because Madara no longer really has access to a lot of his True Seeker orbs, and once again, his massive ego, he tanks Night Guy. But there is an entire strategy built around trying to separate Madara from his True Seeker orbs. How do you forget that?
The Yata Mirror is said to be similar in concept, an adaptive chakra shield that blocks everything. But here's the thing. Raw, pure, high-speed physical force doesn't care about elemental adaptation.
It doesn't care about elemental adaptation, but it does care about the fact that this is a strictly physical jutsu, which the Yata Mirror is said to be able to deflect.
Counters a fist moving at relativistic speed. You can't shift to water style to block a literal black hole of taijutsu. If Guy had aimed Night Guy at Itachi Susano, and the Yata Mirror had been raised, would it have blocked it? Honestly, the shield might have slowed it down. Maybe. But it's more likely the mirror would have shattered instantly, with the rest of Susanoo following soon after. Itachi may be a genius, but you can't outthink a kick that breaks physics.
Literally everything in Naruto breaks physics. Traveling at the speed of light as a human would destroy an entire planet. Like, if you launched your body at the speed of light, just like even like 3 feet, you would destroy the entire planet. The amount of force that your body carries at the speed of light, time bends around you. Time slows down when you're traveling at the speed of light. Everybody by the end of Naruto is relativistic or FTL plus. There's no physics. There's never been physics.
Next, we've got a weapon that was literally forged to reshape the world. The Sword of Nunoboko.
A quick disclaimer, literally every piece of evidence he's about to show in terms of like visual evidence is gonna be from Shinobi Strikers. Shinobi Strikers. And listen, I love Shinobi Strikers. It was literally what started my career as a content creator. However, the reason all of the evidence from, to substantiate this point that the Sword of Nunoboko is insanely powerful is going to be from Shinobi Strikers is because the Sword of Nunoboko gets used for a grand total of nothing in Naruto. The databook entry states that the Sword of Nunoboko was wielded by Hagoromo, and that it is a sword with powers able to either recreate the entire world or destroy it. And then we just see Obito use it like a sword, and not even a great sword, for like 12 episodes. It doesn't make mountains move, it doesn't grow trees, it's just swung at people.
Made from the same chakra that created the Divine Tree and the Truth-Seeking Orbs, this blade is said to represent creation itself. Obito didn't use it for slicing onions. He used it to erase battlefields.
Is there someone, I know there's someone somewhere just like chuckling and kicking their feet off the edge of a bed as they read like, Obito didn't use it to cut onions. Good job. Good job, Dave Chappelle.
He stood against the entire Shinobi Alliance wielding this massive glowing weapon. Just one swing left craters behind. This wasn't just about cutting. It was about deletion. Atomizing everything in its path.
No, it wasn't.
Could Yata Mirror stand against something like that?
Like, these are all fan arts, or Shinobi Strikers, or Ninja Storm 4.
Even the databook's description of Yata Mirror doesn't account for this kind of pressure. There's no known transformation or chakra nature that directly counters a blade made of every nature type combined with god-level force.
What do you want them to write in the data book? Like, oh, here are all the things that the Yata Mirror can transfer. 1, the Sword of Nunoboko. 1B, True Seeker Orbs. 1C, Expansive True Seeker. Like, what do you want from them? Yes, it's made out of all 5 basic elemental natures, yin and yang, and yes, it's being wielded by an unstable Jinchuriki of the Ten Tails, but like, that doesn't mean that Yata Mirror wouldn't be able to deflect reflect an attack from it. It would still be a physical or ninjutsu-based attack. Just because it's 7 chakra natures being slammed together doesn't mean it's not ninjutsu. Expansive True Seeker orbs are ninjutsu. I mean, they're probably closer to shinjutsu than anything, but we don't know if they're shinjutsu because we have nothing confirmed to tell us that they're shinjutsu. The closer we get to Otsutsuki-based jutsus, we can now make the inference that, yeah, they're probably shinjutsu, and as it's made out of all 7 elements, a lot of things probably trickle down from the expansive True Seeker orb tree, but like, we just don't know that.
All right, next up, particle style, or as I like to call it, the delete you from history jutsu. This is Onoki's signature move.
This is an airsoft gun.
What makes particle style so deadly is its structure. It's a Keke Toda, which means it fuses 3 chakra natures, earth, wind, and fire. But no, it doesn't summon Captain Planet. It disintegrates matter on a molecular level.
But like, all right, just because of how dust release works, like, yes, it destroys things on a cellular level, doesn't mean that it's still a jutsu. It's still a ninjutsu. It's a Keke Toda, sure. Like, or Keke Mora. Keke Toda, I honestly get those two mixed up all the time. Sure, it's a combination of 3 individual basic elemental releases that's able to literally erase whatever is caught inside of it. Yeah, 100%. Still ninjutsu.
This thing is supposed to adapt to incoming chakra types, right? That's cute. Until you're hit with a jutsu that doesn't just attack, it erases. It doesn't clash. It breaks everything down into particles before your fancy chakra shield can even react. And this isn't just theory. Onoki used it to obliterate 25 Susanoo clones created by Madara.
Yes, he used it to destroy Susano clones, 100%. Like, he creates like a bunch of different particle style explosions that are able to destroy Madara Susano clones. That is a pretty good point. So it could be like, oh, could it destroy Susano constructs? Yeah. Probably. However, the big difference there between Madara and Itachi Susano, which we're talking about the Yata Mirror. Madara Susano clones, not only were they not perfect Susano clones, they were just basic humanoid Susano clones, but also they had no means of reflecting particle jutsu. Like, yes, can particle jutsu destroy basically anything caught up in it? 100%. But we've never necessarily seen it destroy chakra, because chakra doesn't have a physical form, and Susano is just chakra. Like, yes, he gets rid of shadow clones, but he does that by inflicting damage upon the shadow clones in the center of those Susano clones. So like, if hypothetically, let's say Onoki fired a dust release at a Susano leg, and not the person floating inside of it, it would maybe destroy the leg of that Susano, but even if it did, it would simply be able to regrow that leg. We don't know if chakra can be destroyed. The only time we've ever seen chakra destroyed is when Naruto did it with Baryon mode, and that literally caused anybody that Naruto came into contact with to also have their chakra destroyed, because all chakra is connected. So the idea that Onoki would be able to destroy chakra with his jutsus doesn't make that much sense, because if that was a possibility, we probably would have brought up this talking point a whole lot earlier. So Onoki using particle style to destroy Susano clones seems like a good point, but in actuality, he's just doing damage to the shadow clones in the center of them.
Now we flip from destruction to deception. Let's talk about Kabuto's White Dragon Jutsu.
Why did the voice change? Why did the AI voice change? Why did it get deeper? Was it less serious about Onoki than it was about Kabuto? I also hate how the AI says Kabuto, which I feel like is actually how they say the Pokemon.
Seems to overload your senses. Here's how it works. Kabuto emits a blinding burst of light and sound, disorienting opponents completely. No physical impact, no chakra clash, just sensory chaos. Think flashbang grenade, but magical and deadly.
It's loud and it's bright. Why would the Susano be able to reflect that? Matter of fact, like, as it's not a projectile that's launched at Itachi, how would the Yata Mirror reflect that?
Now remember what we said earlier. Yata Mirror blocks physical attacks, ninjutsu, and even astral projection. Sounds impressive, right? But here's the twist. It doesn't block light or sound. And that's a problem, because that's exactly what Kabuto's jutsu is made of.
Yeah, except for the fact that, like, oh, wow, it doesn't block light or sound. Cool. Why would the Yata Mirror need to do either of those things, A, and B, even if Itachi is stunned by loud noises and light, he can just lock himself up in his Susano, and if you don't have an ability strong enough to punch through the best defensive jutsu in Naruto, like Kabuto is currently struggling with, as you can see Itachi in his Susano, yeah, you're still gonna have issues.
Did Itachi block it? Nope. Did the Yata Mirror help? Not even a flicker. And let's be real, if Itachi could have used the mirror to block it, he would have. The fact he didn't speaks volumes. Think about it. If Yata Mirror could block light, Itachi wouldn't be able to see through it. It would be like walking around with a giant blindfold in front of his face. That's not exactly combat efficient.
So the takeaway here is that The thing that allows for you to see through it, a Susano cannot block light and or sound. And like, yeah, I've said for a long time, the best way to counter something like the Yata Mirror, or even just a Susano in general, sound-based genjutsu. Something like Toyuya's flute or the demonic toad confrontation chant. Sound-based genjutsu are so disgustingly broken for a myriad of reasons, but mostly because it gets around most of the greatest defensive mechanisms in all of Naruto. Now, there is the problem with trying to use something like sound-based genjutsu on Itachi, which is that he's one of the best genjutsu users in all of Naruto. So like, cool, you've made it around to the Yata Mirror, and yeah, maybe he hears your genjutsu, but like his genjutsu resistance is so absurdly high that you're still probably not going to be able to affect him with genjutsu. Now the Toad demonic confrontation chant is obviously different because that affects anybody, even Nagato and Rinnegan users, but still, like, it doesn't matter.
Kicking off with one of the flashiest and most iconic attacks in the Naruto world, the Tailed Beast Bomb. If particle style is precise and Kamui is sneaky, Biju Dama is the big, glowing nope button of the battlefield.
This is what AI is boiled down to. Have millennials just like, just infected the mind of AI to make them think that like BuzzFeed writing style is still cool in 2025? Like I'm half expecting for the end of this video to ask me 25 questions to see what type of cheese I am.
Created by mixing positive and negative chakra into a sphere of pure destruction. Naruto, Killer Bee, and even the Ten Tails have all used it. When this thing hits, it doesn't damage the landscape, it erases it. Now, could Yata Mirror block that? Theoretically, maybe.
Theoretically, yes. I mean, like, it's a jutsu. Like, it is, like, yes, it's using positive and negative chakra, which isn't what standard jutsu work, but, like, it is a jutsu. All jutsus are literally said to be irrelevant in the face of a Yata Mirror. I don't know. Would it exert more pressure than a Yata Mirror would be able to reflect? Maybe. I mean, that's a mechanism we've seen happen in Naruto. Like, Delta's jutsu-absorbing eye was said to be able to absorb everything, but Naruto was like, well, it's gotta have a limit. It's only a scientific tool after all, and he was able to overlimit her chakra-absorbing eye with a massive Rasengan that eventually destroyed that clone version of Delta or Akebi. But like, we can't say. Like, it's like with Daemon's reflectability. Like, oh, is a certain amount of damage able to punch through reflectability? Probably not. That'd be stupid. Like, why have this be a mythical ability that only few people get access to if you can just destroy it with something that like a dozen or so people have access to in the universe? So like, listen, would it be absolutely disastrous if Itachi were to just reflect the Tailed Beast ball back at the Tailed Beast and end up destroying the entire battlefield in the process? Maybe, but like, there's no reason for us to believe that that couldn't happen. We've seen Tailed Beast balls be reflected before. Well, not necessarily reflected, but blocked. I mean, Orochimaru with no arms summoned his triple Rashomon gates and was able to block a Tailed Beast ball from Naruto in his Four Tails mode. And is that the strongest Tailed Beast ball ever made? No. God, no. But like, if Orochimaru basically on his deathbed can stop the force of a Tailed Beast ball and not die in the process, like, then why wouldn't a mythical weapon belonging to one of the most talented ninjas in all time that's said to be able to negate any and all physical or jutsu-based attacks not be able to do the same thing?
The Tailed Beast Bomb doesn't hit you with a single element. It's raw, condensed, mixed chakra that explodes with force strong enough to flatten mountains. Even truth-seeking orbs have been broken by its force.
Why are truth-seeking orbs and Yata Mirror the same thing? Like, it's not the same thing. They're not. They're just, one comes from the Otsutsuki, one come from Itachi, and like, yes, all the Sharingan and Uchiha-based abilities eventually like boil down from Otsutsuki abilities, but like, I just don't get why we're talking about these two things as the same thing.
The bomb not only challenges his truth-seeking defense, but it actually breaks through and causes damage.
Okay, yeah.
That's 10 Tails level power cracking under pressure.
Like, yeah, it's 10 Tails level power, but it's not 10 Tails level power that's said to be able to reflect any and all jutsus under God's scope of abilities.
Now, let's completely flip the battlefield, because not every attack is about punching. Some are about breaking your mind. Enter Infinite Sukiyomi, the genjutsu to end all genjutsu. There's no dodging it, no running from it, unless you've got a Rinnegan and are hiding in the shadows.
Okay, so yeah, like we've seen Infinite Sukiyomi has weaknesses, and that weakness is probably, probably the fact that Sasuke was able to make a perfect Susano with the help of a 6-Tomei Rinnegan. But like, we don't know if a regular Susano also would have stopped the rays of Infinite Sukiyomi from affecting the person who was using said Susano. Nobody else tried. It was just at that current moment in time, the only person who was trying to stop Infinite Sukiyomi was Sasuke with his Susano, and thus he was able to save people like Kakashi and Sakura and Naruto from the effects of Infinite Sukiyomi. if Itachi was on the battlefield and he was using his Yata Mirror and he was pointing his Yata Mirror up towards the moon to possibly reflect the rays of light that were casting Infinite Sukiyomi down upon the entire world, there is an okay chance that that would actually work. I mean, yes, this Genjutsu is being transmitted through the light reflected off the moon, and therefore it's able to reflect the entire world. But we know that any kind of spiritual and or physical and or ninjutsu-based attack can be reflected with the Yata Mirror. Let's say hypothetically, somebody tries to use sound-based Genjutsu on you. If you don't hear the sound-based Genjutsu, it doesn't matter that the sound waves are hitting you. As long as you don't hear it, it won't affect you. The same can be said with like any ocular-based Genjutsu. If Itachi's looking at you and trying to cast Sukiyomi on you, but you have your eyes closed, just because Itachi's looking at you and therefore this jutsu is traveling through light to get to you because you're perceiving his eyes, that doesn't mean you'll fall under the effect of this jutsu. So like, if Itachi is able to block the jutsu itself, not the light, because obviously, like we've established, the shield doesn't block light, there's a fair to decent chance that Itachi would be able to stop Infinite Sukiyomi with his Yata Mirror, assuming his Susano wouldn't just do it for him because Itachi Susano did it for him.
Sasuke doesn't need flashy explosions or giant monsters to break your defense. Sometimes he just needs to be somewhere you didn't expect him to be. That's the core of a Meno Teijigoro.
Heavenly Hand Power actually is a really good answer to something like the Yata Mirror, because there's really nothing that tells us that Sasuke couldn't just swap into somebody else's Susano. So the way that Heavenly Hand Power works is that Sasuke is able to use his 6-tome Rinnegan to swap with something of somewhat equal mass as him, because the rule, it used to be equal mass, but now like he can swap with like a watermelon. So if hypothetically he was battling against somebody in a Susano, there's really nothing that tells us that he wouldn't be able to warp into their Susano and pop them out of their own Susano. Now, this doesn't mean that Sasuke would be able to control their Susano, but it'd be a really good way to rip somebody out of their Susano, and now they have to make an entire new Susano construct, which is incredibly chakra taxing. So that would actually be a really, really good way to work against Yata Mirror, because like we touched on earlier, like space-time ninjutsu probably aren't getting blocked by the Yata Mirror on account of the fact that like they're not attacks necessarily aimed at somebody. It just so happens that like, oh, a portal is opening on top of Itachi, and that portal is Kamui, or like, I'm not aiming at the Yata Mirror, I'm aiming beyond the Yata Mirror. I'm swapping locations inside the Susano, and the Yata Mirror probably wouldn't be able to stop that either. So like, that would be a really good counter to the Yata Mirror. That's not the point they make.
This ability lets Sasuke instantly switch places with anything in his line of sight. Himself, weapons, enemies, even rocks. And in battle, that means he can get behind any defense in a heartbeat. The Yata Mirror, once again, faces the same directional limitation. It protects what Itachi sees. But if Sasuke swaps positions with, say, a kunai behind Itachi, then bam, he's suddenly behind the mirror.
Their point is, oh, Sasuke could get behind Itachi. And it's like, hey guys, Sasuke is so much faster than Itachi as an adult, he doesn't need to use Heavenly Hand Power to get behind Itachi. Like, there's no universe where adult Sasuke, who has access to the 6-tome Rinnegan, needs to use any kind of silly hacks to get behind Itachi, who, by the time that he's using his Yata Mirror at any high level, is already basically 1 foot in the grave. If he gets behind him, sure, he's beaten the Yata Mirror, but he's not beating the Yata Mirror, he's going around it. Heavenly Hand Power is actually a really good way to circumvent the Yata Mirror, because like it wouldn't be able to stop the space-time ninjutsu, and that would have been a good point.
This one's sneaky. Boruto's Vanishing Rasengan doesn't announce itself. It doesn't glow or explode on impact like the classic version. It literally disappears mid-air, then boom, hits you from nowhere. The mechanics are simple. Boruto subconsciously infuses lightning chakra, causing the Rasengan to temporarily vanish before making contact. And that moment of invisibility, that's all it needs to bypass the Yata Mirror.
Yeah, sure, to get around the Yata Mirror is once again what I believe they're going for here. But the Vanishing Rasengan, if it hits the Yata Mirror, one, not only is it a weaker version of the Rasengan, we've never seen the Vanishing Rasengan ever like blow somebody out of existence. Like, sure, in the battle against Momoshiki, by combining the Vanishing Rasengan with Naruto's massive Rasengan, Momoshiki was able to be defeated. But like, we've never seen the Vanishing Rasengan like blow somebody away. Boruto doesn't even really use it anymore, but like, hey, ignoring all of that, it's not invisible to everybody. Like, sure, it's invisible to the naked eye, but if somebody's using something like, oh, I don't know, the Byakugan or maybe even the Sharingan, things that are able to track chakra, that chakra can still be tracked through the air. Just because you can't see it on account of the lightning elemental release applied to it doesn't mean that somebody with a Sharingan, which does, mind you, allow you to track chakra even through things like rocks and trees, wouldn't be able to see this invisible Rasengan. So like, yeah, not only would Itachi probably be able to see this invisible Rasengan, but the Yata Mirror would 100% block it. Like, there's so many other better invisibility jutsus. Like, why are we trying to use this invisibility jutsu as a way to get around the Yata Mirror? Because like, that's not defeating the Yata Mirror. And As a final point here, even if this Rasengan hit, oh, I don't know, Itachi Susano in the chest, guess what? He's gonna be fine. Why? Oh, I don't know, because Madara was able to block a big ball Rasengan from Naruto with just his Susano ribcage?
Let's talk Ishiki Osut, because this guy basically runs on hacks, and his most busted ability, Daikokuten. It allows him to store any object in a pocket dimension and summon it instantly into battle. What does that mean for Yata Mirror? Simple. Ishiki doesn't need to break through it. He just spawns a giant chakra rod behind you.
We're getting behind Itachi Susano. We're just, once again, we're just behind Itachi. You're circumventing the Yata Mirror. That's not defeating the Yata Mirror. That's defeating the back of Itachi's head.
Used by both Jigen and Boruto under Momoshiki, this technique creates a dimensional portal for instant movement. The biggest threat here is angle. Yata Mirror only protects one direction. Kamar Rift lets the user teleport anywhere, including right behind Itachi.
Yeah, so does every space-time ninjutsu ever. Like, why aren't we talking about, like, Yamotsu Hirasaka? Why aren't we talking about Kamui again? Why aren't we talking about the 6-tome Rinnegan ninjutsu ability? Like, Kamar Rift is no different from literally any other space-time ninjutsu ability that's ever existed.
No hand signs, just a split-second portal and boom.
It's hardly split. Like, we've never seen it used at high speeds.
And finally, the ultimate rule breaker, Omnipotence. This power, originally wielded by Shibai Otsutsuki.
Of course, and yeah, Omnipotence, the literal programming code of the world, is going to be able to get around a shield. Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably. If you use Omnipotence to say, hey, Yata Mirror doesn't work anymore, hey, Itachi doesn't exist anymore, then yeah, that's probably gonna work. Cool. This obviously Omnipotence, the word that means all powerful, can get around an item on a Susano.
The mirror doesn't get destroyed. It just ceases to exist. You don't even need to fight Itachi. Just will it so he never had the shield in the first place.
Just will it so Itachi never existed. Like, why even talk about just Itachi gone? See you later. That's all you need to do.